Hallelujah. Let Lord Jesus Christ shine forth. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us. Welcome to another live stream with DCCI Ministries. And tonight, or this afternoon, or this morning, I don't know what time is it over there, brother, but tonight in Britain, we do have privilege to have Brother Hussein with us and to talk about age of Aisha, because it seems that even though Islamic sources are screaming out that Aisha was just a little girl, she was 6 years old when she married off to Muhammad. Since Muslim world is not aware of it, and Brother Hussein is having some problems with Muslims to have to communicate that. Other night or other morning, he went through some of the Islamic sources, put them together to make sure Muslims are very much where this comes from Islam. So I thought it will be good to have him here so he can simply go through and then help us to think through age of Aisha. Of course, what is the implication to that to Muslims, to Muhammad, as well as how do we use this information to preach our glorious gospel? So peace of Christ be with you, brother.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
Thank you very much for taking up my invitation and coming.
Yes, it's an honor to be here.
You say it is honor, but other day I made a comment in the live stream about how messy your fridge was. You went and then did live stream about it. Whole live stream was, I find it was just heart crushing, brother.
Well,
I was going to commit suicide from my bed, but at that time I didn't have a bed. Therefore, I just thought maybe next time.
Well, you know what happened the day that you did this live stream the day after the incident that happened in the park with you. And it was the first live stream that you did, and it was with Daughter of Christ. And my refrigerator came up in that discussion. And what had happened the day before is that Jay Smith had done a live stream about your situation in the park and what the police had done the day that this is the last incident. And what I noticed instantly when I was watching Jay Smith's live stream, and it was a fantastic live stream as always with Jay Smith, but I couldn't help notice that on the top of his refrigerator, he has the exact same cereal boxes that I do. And so I felt it was important for people to know that I'm not the only one who has Cheerios and other cereal boxes on top of the refrigerator. And that was the intent, and I had actual photographic evidence. And so I felt it was important to share it with people.
I believe your justification skills is very bad. But I just wanted to express that I'm very much heartbroken that a brother went and made a video about the comment I made. It was like, I think an hour or something. I didn't watch it actually. I just watched first couple of minutes of it. I'm amazed that we are all very different.
Yeah.
We are just like so messy. I still remember that image of your fridge. And now in my mind, I've got the image of Jay's fridge as well. He's coming here in a couple of weeks, probably
Yes.
Conversation. Even though you are very much messy, still king of universe, logic of cosmos, give himself for you. So that shows like heart of our God.
Yes.
Seriously.
Hallelujah. Amen.
Okay, on the business side of it. So there is this young girl called Aisha. Actually, I do have Aisha here. I've got Aisha here. So there is this Aisha who is identified as the mother of the believers. In Sahih Bukhari hadith, she contributes approximately 1,000 hadith, okay, to Sahih Bukhari just alone. And she's very much respected by Muslim community. But when her age is being questioned, everyone gets very much upset. And I noticed that even people are upset when you bring that up. So why would someone be upset about the age of their mother? Even though she didn't have any kids, but still she's the mother of the believers.
Yes. A very young mother, you know, she's a very young mother, a prepubescent mother, you know, and so it's an amazing thing. You know,
That's a miracle of
it's one of those
wisdom.
miracles. It's one of those miracles, you know, and you know, I mean, Muhammad's mother was pregnant 4 years, so there's lots of miracles in these stories that we need to take into account. And so, you know what? One thing I found, and as much as we talk about this, as much as it's all over the internet, it's all over the place. I could, you know, I did a live stream with El Fadi a few weeks ago, and it's just videos of people that I'm witnessing to talking about this subject. And it's as if nobody knows about it. It's just like, no, oh, no, absolutely not. That's absolute. Oh, it's terrible, terrible. And I'm glad that that's their reaction. I'm glad that their reaction is that's terrible for a 54-year-old man to be having sex with a 9-year-old girl. And, you know, I'm very happy that they think that, but I'm so surprised that they don't know about it. You know, that's the amazing thing, is that they don't know about it, you know? And so I have a little video here. This is one of my probably most vile videos. I have more violent videos, but this is the most vile video, and it's regarding this subject. So if I could share this video.
Before you share that video, if you give us a little bit context, what you do,
Okay.
so that we can kind of put together why you are sitting in the middle of the street. And he left the live stream. So once he comes back, we want to hear the context of that video, what he's doing, why he's doing. And then here the objection comes from Muslims. The video is coming from his YouTube channel, Hussein Mashni's YouTube channel. And you can go and watch the full video in his channel. In here, we are just going to look at a little bit of the video. But would you like to give us a little bit context before we watch the video?
Okay. I go out witnessing all the time, and
what does that mean? What does that God witnessing means?
Witnessing is when I go out to share the gospel with Muslims, and I try to go to places where there are lots of Muslims. And the place that I kind of felt the Lord leading me to was this supermarket, and you know, and I started putting my table. I have a little table, and the table says, I have a banner on it. It says, "Come talk to me about Jesus," in English and in Arabic. In Arabic, "Ta'alu kallimni an al-Masih." And I used to put it on inside the parking lot of the supermarket. It's not just a supermarket. It's also got like a Muslim bookstore. It's got falafel store and all this stuff. You know, it's on the corner, and it's very popular, and it looks like a mosque. They made it look like a mosque. And so I just used to go there and sit there and talk to people. And every now and then people come, and I'd have like 3 or 4 people a day that would come up and talk to me. And I have Qurans where I would show them. I have like 3 different Qurans. I would show them that there are different Qurans. I would talk to them about different subjects. And it was always very good. And but then they brought the police the first time, and so what happened is one woman came up, and she's the one who started talking to me, and then she was angry, and then she went inside the store and called the police on me and told the police that I'm chasing girls in the parking lot. And fortunately, I had everything on video. The police came, I showed them the video. They knew that she was lying, and then they said, well, you have the right to be here, that's fine. And then another time they called the police. They call the police on me every day. The police were so sick of me when I, the dispatch, when we called the dispatch, they said, are you the guy on the table there? They got so many calls about me and complaints, because every time somebody would get offended, they'd call the police. And the poor police department was just like, dude, shut up. You know, who cares about this guy? But eventually the police did kick me out, and they kicked me out to the sidewalk. And they said, and I said, well, wait a minute, there's a Muslim guy in there, and he's praying right by the door. And you know, I love the Muslim guy. He's a great guy. Me and him talk all the time. I give him rides and everything. He's a great guy. I have no problem with them. But I have a problem that the fact that I'm a Christian, I'm not allowed to be in, but the Muslim guy is allowed to be in he's right in front of the door of the supermarket. And the police said to me, they said, well, they want him, they don't want you. And they said, since it's private property, you have to go out. But they told me, but you can go out to the sidewalk, because the sidewalk is public property. So I have been going out to the sidewalk for the last 4 or 5 months. And and just 3 days ago, one business owner came out to me, and it's also on video. Everything is recorded. And he threatened me. He says, you have been warned. He said, you have been warned. And I said, warned about what? Are you going to call ISIS? What are you going to do? He says, you have been warned. And so he says, you can't come over here and play this game. You can't come over here and evangelize. And it was all in Arabic. And he said, bashir means to evangelize. You can't do it out here. But I'm on a public sidewalk, an American sidewalk, and the police have come. The police have come several times while I'm on that sidewalk. The other day I had a sign, and the sign said, on one side it says Jesus is the Son of God. The other side it says Muhammad is a false prophet. And I carry a big wooden cross as well. And I wear a sheikh outfit. I wear like a sheikh carrying a big cross. And a guy came, he hit me, and I have this 80-year-old assistant. This guy's 80 years old, man. Poor guy, but he just loves to come out to the table. And the guy hit him too. And so we called the police. And just to tell you the difference between, this was right after your incident there, but our police is different than the British police. Our police came and did, he said, you guys are doing God's work, man. Don't stop doing God's work, man. Jesus said they're going to persecute you. So just be, this is exactly what Jesus said. And then the policeman, he took off, but then he came back about a half hour later. He said, you know what? I just want to pray for you guys in the name of Jesus. So, it's like, there's still a little hope in America. I don't know about England, but anyway, so that was a long introduction.
Okay. Yes, that was a lot of information. I'll just summarize that in a way I understood.
Okay.
So you are active involved with evangelism. You go on the streets, you've got cross, and then you've got signs where you stand or where you set a table to talk to people about Jesus, and also intentionally get attention of Muslims to preach the gospel and question Islam, correct?
Yes.
And along the way, of course, followers of religion of peace might have some issues. Police steps in. Good thing is they might not like you. They reject you. Maybe they don't even want you in their places. But Lord Jesus Christ, eternal Son of the Father, loves you, and he wanted you. So hold on that promise, and nothing can separate you from him as well.
Yeah.
So, and now the video we are going to watch is in your channel and titled as Crazy Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know why would you title a video Crazy Friday, especially if you are engaging with Muslims, because Friday is their holiday. They go to mosque, and then you would expect when they come out of it, they're like so peaceful.
Yes.
Why did you label it crazy? They should be like Peaceful Friday or something.
Or Holy Friday. Maybe I'll go back and change it to Holy Friday. But, well, I tell you what, Fridays are crazy. Every Friday is crazy. Every single time. And I tell you what, the stuff that has happened on Fridays is out of this world. And I'm running out of adjectives. But this was one of the craziest Fridays. And I was...
You would expect, since they are just like going to mosque, or they setting their mind to meet with others, learn a little bit about Islam, pray, you would expect them to like express little bit love and kindness. But in somehow they like come out from the prayer, and then they just like got all crazy. Yeah. Something happened there.
Yeah. Well, it's a different kind of love. I'm not sure how to describe it, but this right here, this incident that I'm going to share, it's got adult language in it. So if you have little kids, maybe close their ears or something. There's not that bad, but there's a couple of F words.
There are certain languages which are used by followers of Islam. Be aware of it, please. So anyway, the reason I want to show it is just to show that
I really think this guy did not know that Aisha was 6 years old. I really think he did not know. And he was so shocked. He was so shocked that this was his reaction. And so that's kind of why I wanted to show this kind of at the beginning, is to just show that I think they don't know. I think they don't know. I think they're not being told. So can I just go ahead and start it, the video?
Yes.
Here?
Please mute yourself.
Okay.
And play the video so we won't have any echo. Thank you.
When he's 51. You see? So he was. This project of yours is. Are you Muslim? Of course, alhamdulillah. Do you believe Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl when he was 51? Is that okay with you? What if somebody wants to marry your granddaughter?
I don't want to knock you down.
Muhammad said so.
I don't want to knock you down. You're lying.
Knock me down.
You're lying.
Knock me down.
6 years old. What are you, fucking crazy?
Dude, you don't know the hadith. You don't know the hadith. Do you know Sahih al-Bukhari?
Shut up.
You know Sahih al-Bukhari?
Shut up.
Don't tell me what to do.
Yes.
Do you know Sahih al-Bukhari?
Shut up.
Sahih al-Bukhari.
Shut up.
Aisha said, بنبي جوزني وأنا 6 سنين وبنبيها وهي 9 سنين.
Listen.
Muhammad was 51, had a 6-year-old girl. Had a 6-year-old girl.
That saying has no foundation.
Sahih al-Bukhari.
It's not true.
Sahih
No,
al-Bukhari.
it's not.
Sahih
No,
al-Bukhari.
it's
The
not
hadith. The
It's not
hadith.
there.
He had sex with her.
Your job is
He
to
was 54.
smear.
He was 54.
Listen.
What if a 54-year-old man? What if a 54-year-old man?
It's your job to
What if a
smear
54-year-old
You
man?
think people will follow
I used
you?
to be a Muslim.
All
I want
this
you guys to
garbage?
know the truth about Jesus Christ, man. You be
Fuck
careful.
You and fuck your truth.
Okay, guys, this is the guy that threw my Bible just on the table right now. Just so you guys know, he threw my Bible down.
Yeah.
He picked it up and told me F you. So you guys know about love, the religion of mercy. You must have just come out of the mosque, huh? Religion of mercy, religion of rahmah. Yani, it's in your hadith, Habibi. Sahih al-Bukhari. Your prophet married a 6-year-old girl. 6-year-old girl. Smear? To speak the truth is smearing?
Show me the truth.
I'll show it to you. You want me to show it?
the truth.
I'll show it to you.
No, not online.
No, it's on hadith, Habibi.
I want it in writing from Sahih
Okay.
Bukhari.
Okay. How about
Okay.
from the Quran?
Get it ready.
How about from the Quran?
Oh, fuck you. 6 years old in the Quran? Who
Let's-
came up with this?
this
Who
is
came
Quran.
up with this?
Don't take my
Who
book.
wrote this?
Who wrote the Quran?
Who wrote this?
The
This
Quran?
particular
You don't-
edition. Who wrote it?
It's the Hafs. It's the Hafs. It was in 1924 when it was official.
I'm-
That's the one that you have. Is the Hafs version.
This crap is gonna get you killed. I'm warning you.
Dude, if they
It's
do,
gonna get you killed.
who's gonna kill me?
In the Quran, it says he married 6
Okay,
years
we
old.
can
What do
stop
you
it, brother. Okay, just beware you are muted, so you need to unmute yourself. I'll just bring up a couple of things to my attention, and then hopefully your attention, and then we look at the Islamic sources. So you are expressing that Prophet of Islam, who is mercy to mankind, best pattern for Muslims to follow, and which Muslims supposed to be follow with fullness, married a 6-year-old child and had sex with her when she was 9. And response to that was from Mr. Muslim is, I knock you down, and then your Bible is being thrown. And then also you've been warned.
Oh, he said that you're going to get killed. You can get killed for this. 2 times he said you can get killed for this.
So you are going to get killed simply expressing his prophet climbed the top of a child. You are very patient, brother. Well done, first of all, like going and standing there and engaging people who at the first don't know the basics of their faith, but also they are programmed to not love Jesus. And of course, their love towards Christians are not very kind either, that not loving as well. I just wanted to say well done for being on the streets and engaging such a people. It just shows us how much people need Jesus. It should break our hearts with very simple argument. 21st century, someone who lives in America still doesn't know what his prophet did. And it's all over YouTube. It's not like, no, it's not being hidden anymore. They are hungry for Jesus. They are hungry for Jesus. So well done being on the streets.
Yes. You know what? And you know what? I'll be honest, I prefer this guy's reaction to a lot of other people's reactions, because he was so angry at the possibility that Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl. Well, what if he goes home and looks it up and finds out that it is in his books? What if he goes home and finds out that there's all of these hadiths saying that his prophet did this? You know, I think that could be something that could lead him out of Islam because of that. He was so upset about it. And so
that argument on like Muhammad's marriage with Aisha, which it's very much like well circulated in Christian world, among Christians or even among atheists, but still Muslims don't know about it. So we know about it because we look into it to see how we can use the life of Muhammad to critique Islam, so that will cause Muslims to have doubt. Therefore, their hunger for Jesus will grow, and then we will fit them with Jesus. So we are very much aware of it. But you meet 21st century, you meet with people, they've got internet access, they've got access to everything. They haven't heard. They haven't heard.
You know what I think it is that they are being inundated with information about how beautiful and peaceful and wonderful the prophet is. I really believe this because of the way they talk about him, is that they're making him out to be this wonderful Jesus-like miracle working, you know, figure, messianic figure. And to where if one little tiny negative thing comes out, they say it's an attack. It's an attack. It's an attack. It's a lie. It's a smear. It's and not even opening the possibility that this is from their books. This is from their own books, you know? And so, I've got, like I said, I got about 6 other videos, you know, and I don't want to show them. I don't have them with me right now, but every single time people, they don't know. And I'm thinking, how can you not know? You know, but we got our work cut out for us.
Yeah, such a shame. Like I know a philosopher from Indonesia. He's been watching Speaker's Corner videos and then hearing week after week, these people are saying why Muhammad did this to Aisha. And just like after like watching for a long time, he decided to check it out. And he checks it out after like long time, and he's a philosopher. And then he finds out Muhammad married with Aisha, and then that made him to like leave Islam, because in the mind of Muslims, that's like pretty bad.
Yeah.
Once you ask them, oh, would you have sex with a child? Answer is no. Yeah. Most of the time. Sometimes you get crazies, they need to think, but answer most of the time is no. And from that, once you told them, but your prophet did this, they start to justify it. That's very much sad. We do get the same like people group at Speaker's Corner where they never heard it, because you've been in that circle as a Muslim, like they've been lied, they haven't been taught, and they never needed to go and check it out because it is not circulated among them. And then someone comes out of blue, someone comes out of blue and then tells them what Muhammad did to Aisha. Their mind just doesn't get it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you know, and then you see there, that's another level there of the situation is then when they do hear it, and then they start excusing it, and then all the different excuses they come up with, you know, girls get bigger back then, and you know
it's the camel urine. It's the camel urine. Camel urine apparently make girls fat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I had another friend actually, and this is amazing to me, and I'm not even sure what to make of it. But this guy he's a doctor. He's got a doctorate in some Islamic studies or something. And he saw the video that I did, one of my videos about Aisha's age. And he sent me a message. And this is a very sincere, mature person. It's not just like some snot-nosed kid out on the street who's just angry. And he said to me, he says, why don't you stick to your religion? Just stick to your religion, talk about, your Bible, because as long as you keep talking about Islam, and he's talking specifically about the situation with Aisha, he says, you're going to keep on making mistakes like this. And so, he's accusing me of being mistaken about what I've said about Aisha. And this guy's very mature, like I said, very responsible. I mean, he's a doctor. He's got a doctorate. He teaches Islam. And so anyway, when he did that, when he sent that message, I thought, you know what? I mean, there's so many things I know in my head about it, but I'm just going to do a live stream, and I'm going to just show the hadiths themselves. I want to just show the hadiths themselves. And you tell me, one thing I said in it is like, there's many things I'm mistaken about, and I don't mind admitting if I'm mistaken. Maybe I did make a mistake. I try not to make mistakes, but of course I'm human. I make mistakes. But about this situation, I'm sorry. I'm not mistaken about this one. This one, I'm almost positive I'm not mistaken about it. And here's the proof. And it's proof from your books. It's from your sources. And so that's kind of what I did. I just got this little slide presentation about Aisha's age.
So now we are going to go through those sources, those slides, to see from Islamic sources, yes, that's what really Muhammad did. Mm-hmm. But why is that important? People do crazy things. People make mistakes. So why are you as a Christian so much focusing on this? Like I'm sure, like if we really, really, really try hard and then try harder and then try a little bit harder more, we might find something good about Muhammad. Why do you have a problem with Muhammad and what he did to Aisha?
The reason, first of all, the reason to do this is because there's a mythology about Muhammad. There's a mythology that he is this saint, and he's this perfect man, and they absolutely believe it. And in fact, they put him on a level with Jesus Christ. They put him, that he's just this perfect man who never sinned, never did anything wrong, and you have to say sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after you say his name, and you have to sallallahu alaihi wasallam over and over again. Allah's praying over him and everything, and you got to penetrate that false canopy of holiness that's around him to show. And we don't have to do that just for the sake of doing it. We have to do it to show them the truth. And if we love them, it's like, I've shared here before about my family's reaction to my videos and to what I'm doing. Nobody talks to me anymore. And, but they have this mythology of Muhammad, and they are so addicted to it. They're so hooked to it that we have to try to show them the truth of who they're following. And, this is one thing that, I saw in your video yesterday when we were talking to a guy at the park there, is that, if you choose to follow him after you know this, you are free to do so, but you're going to be held accountable for it then, because you have made a decision to follow this man, not just because your father followed him. But you're making a conscious decision that it doesn't matter if a 51-year-old man marries a 6-year-old girl, I'm still going to follow him into eternity. And then that you made a decision then. See?
Yeah. So you've got Surah 33 verse 21 identifies Muhammad as the best example, excellent pattern for people to follow. Mm-hmm. So as an excellent pattern, you wouldn't expect him to climb the top of a child. Mm-hmm. And she was still child. Like, it's not only like they got engaged and then they had this love at the first sign, all those kind of things. No. She never gave her consent. So best example to humanity, mercy to the world, he's also identified, wouldn't be part of such an event. Mm-hmm. I acknowledge that seriously people do crazy things, and we do call them to repentance, and then we ask law to put in practice and then deal with those individuals. But when someone is identified as best pattern, mercy to humanity, I don't see that's mercy at all.
Yeah.
That's not mercy to Aisha at the first place.
Yeah.
And then also, it's not only like him supposed to be like, okay, like you can have one mind of saying, okay, that was for him. He's the most privileged person ever lived. Okay, it's stopped in 7th century. When he died, his wife died, it's all done. It does. That's the problem, is it doesn't stop there.
It doesn't stop there.
Like Surah 65 verse 4, encouraging, you can just still divorce the ones who are not believing yet. You had sex with them and then now you are divorcing. So it's not like his actions, but also how those verses end up in the Quran, causing trouble to humanity in this world. Therefore, it becomes important for us, because once Muslims start following such examples, even in some of the Muslim majority countries, it has been practiced. We do concern for our children, we do concern for our next generation. But under the example of Muhammad as a best pattern, what we get to see is, I remember like a month ago or something, there was a movie in England, kind of Muslim gangs were kind of trying to shut it down, which I think they did very well. In one of the video, this group who is protesting, he said, from childhood, they are trained to defend the honor of Muhammad. So in their mind, whatever Muhammad did, it is good. Therefore, once they try to justify that, well, if it was good, then it is okay for me to do so.
Yeah.
So it has like lots of problems with Muhammad. Therefore, it is difficult for us to just ignore it or don't talk about it, because there is application for us in this world, and there is application for that for eternity for Muslims.
Yeah. You know, there's the theological side, the religious side, which is, you're talking about, the great holy man of Islam, and there's that element of it. But there, what you're alluding to there is that the very, very real today in the world social problem that this is continuing because of Muhammad's example. It's not just like, oh, we want to make Muhammad look bad. No, there's little girls who are still suffering because of this, in the Muslim world, because Muhammad said this. I mean, and Muhammad hijab had no problem. He had no problem there in the streets of London to say that, that the Quran does say this is okay. And it's like, so you guys, you got it. You have to, yeah.
People will say those things, like, just sometimes those things look attractive. It is not okay. It is never okay. Okay, people, it is never okay. It is never okay. Yeah. So, brother, you've been accused in that video that you were making it up, and you've been warned all those kind of things. What is your sources? Do you have any sources anywhere in Islamic tradition? Someone came up and then talked about it. Where did you get that?
Well, it really was just my Christian uncle who's an Islamophobe. No, I'm just kidding. I know. I got the source. I got my little presentation here. I hope I can share it here. Can I put it on here? Okay, there you go. See, I have 13 hadiths. Okay. And if you want to be legalistic, it's a hadith, because a hadith is the plural of hadith. But I'm Californian, and we are stubborn, and so it's 13 hadiths. And this is about the age of Aisha. So
before, brother, let me just cut you off. Sorry. Before you go on that, so someone in the chat is expressing that there is no age limit in the Bible. So therefore, they kind of think, Islam comes to confirm that, therefore it is okay for Muhammad to climb the top of a child. I'll just debunk that, and then we move on to the sources. Is that okay?
Sure, yes.
So there is an age limit in the Bible, actually, Mr. Muslim. I remember you from other day. So Genesis Genesis, first of all, sets up for our foundation. Genesis 1, 2, 3 is the foundation of Christian theology, Christian faith, okay? In Genesis account, when God creates Eve, God doesn't create baby Eve. Men and women are capable to name the, like men and women capable to work in the garden. Not man and child. It's not Adam and baby Eve. Adam and child Eve. Eve is old enough to work in the garden. So like that's like very basic principle. And that's like not Eve and Steve. It's not Eve and something else. It is Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve. Okay? So that's the first point. Second point is Proverbs 31 gives us the very basic principles for wife. Okay? What are the things wife can do? As we read it, we get to see actually wife is able to run the business. Wife is able to work, merchant ships, go to the farm, look after the family, provide, covering for her bed, like she does lots of things. She's not a child, she's capable to do many things. That's Proverbs chapter 31, description for godly wife. It doesn't stop there, of course. When it comes to the age limit, we can go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 16, we do have the principle of the age, okay? I'm not going to go through all these, read all of it, but please read it, chapter 16, from verse 4 to 9. I'll just emphasize the part. On the day you were born, your corpse was not cut, nor were you washed with water to make you clean, nor were you rubbed with salt and rubbed with cloths. No one looked on you with pity and had compassion enough to do any of those things for you. Rather, you were thrown out to the open field, for on that day you were born, you were despised. When I passed by, so focus this part, when I passed by, I saw you kicking about in your blood. And as you lay there in your blood, I say to you, live. I make you grow like a plant of the field. You grew up and developed and become most beautiful jewels. Your breasts were formed and your hair grew. You were naked and bare. Later, I passed by, and when I looked at you and saw that you were old enough for love, I spread the corner of my garment over you and covered your nakedness. I gave you my solemn oath and entered into the covenant with you, declares the Lord. So, she is physically fully developed. It talks about how her breasts are formed, how hair is grown. We should all pick up what kind of hair is talking about. And then she is ready. Later, I passed by, and then I saw you were old enough for love. So I think that simply tells us it can't be age 6. It can't be age 9. So please stop misusing the Bible to justify what Muhammad, peace, police, FBI, and child protection be upon him. You can't justify that. I think you need to say, it was wrong what he did. We cannot do or repeat that. Sorry, brother, I cut you off over there. It's just someone was commenting on it.
Thank you for what you shared. You know, that because that's like always what they do. Always, almost always. Yeah. Oh, what about Mary? What about her? You know, all that stuff, you know, and it's like, you know, it's because they are ashamed. They are ashamed. I had a lady who I had the sign that said Muhammad is a false prophet. By the way, they took that sign, they stole it from me, and like they stole your Quran. And but this lady came and she took a picture of my the sign Muhammad is a false prophet, and she said to me, "You are in big trouble." And I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "You are in big trouble." Okay, this is at the supermarket there. And I said, "Oh, really? What, are you going to send your Taliban friends after me or what?" And she says, "You are in big trouble." And I said, Muhammad is a false prophet. I mean, he married a 6-year-old girl. And when I said that, she was stopped in her tracks because she was ashamed of that. She knew, and she was ashamed of it.
Good thing is, lots of Muslims are better than her.
Yes.
Yeah, better than Muhammad. Sorry, lots of Muslims are better than Muhammad.
Yes.
It is okay for them to be ashamed of it. It is okay for them to start questioning it, but try to justify and defend it.
Mm-hmm.
It's ugly. So, brother, can you bring our attention to the Islamic sources so that we know you are not lying? We know if Aisha is lying, that's absolutely fine. But as a Christian, we need to be truthful. So, does Islamic sources justify anything? Any claim you are making? Your claim is Muhammad, who's supposed to be the best example to humanity, married at 6 years old.
Yes. All right. Well, let's. This is kind of the presentation that I kind of put together, and here is the. This is kind of like the order, the format that I'll use. Number 1, the sources. Number 2, the grade of those hadiths. Number 3, we're going to look at the hadiths themselves. I want to look at all 13 of them, and I know that's just repetitious, but I want to read them anyway. The consistencies and inconsistencies in these hadiths, some issues with the isnad, the chain of narrations, the unique details in some of the hadiths, okay? Because as you read these, each one has got not each one of them, but several of them have some interesting details that we can look at, okay? So anyway, let's look at the sources. These are the sources. Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Sunan ibn Majah, Sunan al-Nisa'i, and Abi Dawood. And the reason that I wanted to show this, you guys, there is what's called in Arabic a sitta. Sitta means the 6. There are 6 authentic books of hadith. And the story of Aisha is in 5 of them. The story of the age of Aisha is in 5 of the 6 authentic sources of hadith. The only one that's not in here is Tirmidhi. Tirmidhi is the only one that isn't on this list. But of the others, these are all, it's considered the authentic 6 sources of hadith. Okay, and so
just let me add a point. That doesn't mean like Tirmidhi is disagreeing. Tirmidhi is not making comment on it.
Right. It's just the fact that it's not there. He's not saying, "Oh no, she was 18 or she was 27." He's not doing that. I'm just saying that the 13 hadiths I'm showing you are from these sources. They're from 5 of the 6. You guys, that's, I'm not a mathematician. Preachers aren't very good with math, but that's a pretty huge sample. That's a pretty huge sample. When 6 of your authentic sources of hadith, 5 of them include her age when she married Muhammad. And you just got to say, wait a minute. Just to re-emphasize, and I'll re-emphasize this again and again, what I'm trying to show is how solid the case for Aisha being a little 6-year-old girl when Muhammad married her. I just want to show you how solid it is. This is, within an Islamic context, extremely solid. 5 of the 6 books. It's not some da'if or something, or anything like that. This is 5 of the 6, and it's very famous. The Sitta, the 6. It's a very well-known collection of books and it's even got it's so well known that it's got a name. It's called the Six. 5 of the 6 have Aisha's age in them. Okay, so all right. Here are the hadiths themselves in all of the different books: Sunan Nisa'i, Sahih Bukhari, Sunan Abi Dawud, Sahih Muslim, and Sunan Ibn Majah. These are the actual hadiths, okay, that I'm going to be showing you, the 13, and then the grade of the hadith, all of them. And I made it really big just in case somebody doesn't have his glasses on or something. I made it really big just so that you can know what the grade of all of these hadiths. All 13 of them are sahih.
So they are trustworthy.
Yeah, they're not weak. They're not good. They're not da'if or hasan. Hasan is good. I mean, hasan is good if you can't get nothing else. It's like, okay, good is pretty good. You know, it's not nothing. But these are all sahih. These are sahih hadith. All of the 13 I'm going to show you are sahih, authentic. You know, the highest grade, you know, that you can get for hadiths. Okay. All right. So now we're going to actually look at the hadiths themselves. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and read them. Sometimes I'm going to make a comment about the Arabic. Sometimes the translation isn't that great, but I think a lot of them are pretty good. And they say, what, you know, what is at issue here. Now, this one is Sahih al-Bukhari 3894. Okay. And it's narrated by Aisha. Okay. The Prophet engaged me when I was a girl of 6 years. We went to Medina, stayed at the home of Bani al-Harith bin Khazraj. Then I got ill and my hair fell down. Later on, my hair grew again, and my mother, Roman, came to me while I was playing in a swing with some of my girlfriends. She called me and I went to her, not knowing what she wanted me to do. She caught me by the hand and made me stand at the door of the house. Okay, so this is one of them. Now, what do you have here? You have the 6 years. Okay, you have the and if this doesn't go too long, I would like to come back to this hadith because I have a lot of problems with this story. I have a lot of personal, emotional problems from my own past that I see in the story that is very, to use a word that you use quite often, it's very, very concerning, you know, very disturbing. There's a lot in this story. It's so much. If you were to give this to an American Psychological Association and tell them, what would you say about this mother, Roman? What would you say about this monster mother here?
Can I just pick up a couple of things
Sure.
in that story as well, brother? So first of all, I think it is wrong to look from the perspective, maybe it was okay in that time, because this story doesn't give us that. Aisha, she himself is speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, mother of the believers. If you want to call the mother of the believers liar, you are very welcome to do so. But mother of the believers, Aisha herself, she tells you 1,000 hadith, and then suddenly she gets her age wrong. She says, I was 6. And out of stress, her hair fall. And that's not enough. She doesn't even know what is happening to her. When her mom just pass her, like gets from her hand and then pass it to someone else. She doesn't even know what's happening. She doesn't even know where babies are coming. She's just like a child playing on the swings.
Well, you brought up some of the issues some of the problems I have with this story, you know, and it's like, you know, if we, you know, that one issue of, I didn't know what she wanted. I mean, couldn't they at least have tried to prepare her or you know, honey, you know, I just want to tell you what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, but even let's say mother have that conversation, still she's just a child. She's like playing on the swings with her friends. She didn't even put together what is happening. And then they're just like passing her. Disturbing. I think it's not like only concerning for us, but anyone who's got like little bit brain should just read it and then say many things in this story are wrong the way it happened.
Yeah.
It should never happen. If it happened, then it is wrong.
Yes.
I would be quite okay if Muslim says that, but denying and then trying to justify, it's just not acceptable. She doesn't even know what's going to happen to her.
Yeah. You know, I read a book once, and it's about a woman who was a child bride, and she said she divided her life into two parts. Her life is divided into two parts, and it was before that night, the honeymoon night, and after the honeymoon night. And she talked about how she, you know, she went to the wedding, and she was, I think, 8 or 9 years old. And everybody's dancing around her and singing and throwing candy at her and throwing money at her. And she's just like, oh, yeah, clapping with everybody. Woo-hoo. Just, you know, just so happy. You know, everybody loves me. Everybody thinks I'm the queen of the universe, you know, and she's dancing. She's happy. And, you know, everybody's dancing and clapping around her and singing and delicious food. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's happy. And it's all about her. And she's like, yeah, I'm the queen of the universe. And then there was the ride from the wedding to the hotel where they were going to sleep. And then she found out what he was going to do to her. And she says that's when her world, that's the second part of her life. Her life changed right then. And I think it's identical to what Aisha's saying here. And it's disturbing. It's painful. It's hard to talk about. But you know what? I didn't write it. I didn't write this. Christians didn't write this with this level of detail. And, you know, I did a video once called Kids Say the Darndest Things. And it's about Aisha because she was a little kid when she said all this stuff, you know, and, you know, kids don't think about, you know, well, you got to be politically correct. You got to protect think about that. No, they just say whatever's on their mind. And I kind of think that's what she's doing here. I'm just telling you what, you know, this is what's happened, you know.
Yeah, even like she's got the same mindset when she's like 18, because all of her childhood is being destroyed.
Yeah.
She can't put together what are the things she should share, what are the things she shouldn't share, because like there are certain things happens and we don't go out public and share those things, but she just like drops everything because she couldn't put together like what she can share, what she shouldn't be sharing. There was no mother figure to teach her those very basics. From early age, her brain is being destroyed.
Yeah. Well, and then Muhammad added just, you know, I don't have the hadith with me here, but Muhammad added to her veracity. He added tremendously to her veracity because he said, "Khudh nus dinkum min al-humara." Take half of your religion from the red. He called her like the red one, or, you know, like maybe she had red hair or something. You know, take half of your religion from Aisha. So whatever she says, Muhammad added that tons of veracity and truthfulness to whatever she said when he said that. He says, take half your religion from her. So her credibility is very high in the Islamic universe, you know. So anyway, we'll go to the next one. Like I said, I got 13 of these. Okay, this is from Sahih Muslim. Okay. Aisha said, Allah's messenger, may peace be upon him, married me when I was 6 years old, and I was admitted to his house at the age of 9. She further said, we went to Medina and I had an attack of fever for a month and my hair had come down to my earlobes. Okay, so that's kind of the main part that I wanted to focus on, and is the age 6 and 9. You hear this? Okay, this is the third one.
Sorry, who was narrating the previous one? Aisha?
Yes, this is
Mother of the Believers. Mother
yeah.
of the Believers is again expressing she was 6 years old when she married off, and then they had sex when she was 9 years old.
Yes. Okay. All right. This is Sahih Muslim again. Again, Sahih Muslim. Aisha, Allah be pleased with her, reported that Allah's apostle, may peace be upon him, married her when she was 7 years old. And he was, and now here's a typo, but it says he, but it should be she, was taken to his house as a bride when she was 9, and her dolls were with her. And when the Holy Prophet died, she was 18 years old. So this one's got a ton of details in it. This is Sahih Muslim 1422c. And
it makes sense. It makes sense why after they say Allah's apostle, they put in parentheses, may peace be upon him, because they know what he did to Aisha is causing him to torment.
Yes.
So it needs to be actually pieces, police and FBI and child protection be upon him. But so again, she's only a child and she's got her dolls with her.
Yes. See,
so in Islam, if you're a child, you are allowed to play with your dolls if you're not bleeding yet, okay? She still has her dolls with her.
You see, and it's so interesting that, this is why, Aisha is the one that reported this, so this goes back to Aisha. If you look at the Arabic, you see the English doesn't have the isnad, but the Arabic has the isnad, the chain of narrators. And if you look at, this is Aisha speaking, and she's the one who's saying this. And so she's not thinking, oh, I had my dolls with me, and, but there's so much meaning in that. It's not just a little detail. You see, these are the little details that some of these, when you look at some of them have these little details, and we're going to talk about them when we're done reading them. We'll talk about some of these little details that, some of them have. So, and okay, here's another one. This is Sunan Ibn Majah, 1877. Abdullah said, it was narrated that Abdullah said, the Prophet married Aisha when she was 7 years old and consummated the marriage with her when she was 9, and he passed away when she was 18. So here you got 3 major pillars, the time of the marriage, the time of the sex, and the time of his death. And so, and this is, you'll see it many other times as well.
Yeah, okay. So just want to also bring our attention. First of all, nothing in this story so far, how it's been looked, says she started bleeding. She's at this stage, she's still not having her period. Okay, she's still she hasn't developed yet, even when she's 9. She hasn't developed yet. She's not bleeding yet. She's just still a child. And Muhammad died. She's 18 years old teenage girl. She was not even able to marry. All of her life, just distracted. She lived for a long, long time, and she was just this lonely woman who just known as the mother of the believers, blah blah, but didn't have anyone in her life to share life. Why? Because Muhammad banned his wives to get married.
Yes, yeah. That's and about the bleeding, about I almost think that with as much detail as she gives, she is so detailed. She gives so much details that she would have I mean, she talks about how she used to scrape the semen off with her. It specifically says that with her nails. It says that with her nails, she used to scrape the semen off of the Muhammad's clothes. You know, and she was teaching a guy how to do this, and so you know, something as eventful as her first period, I almost think she would have written about it. You know, but anyway, there's no mention of it.
A couple of people expressed, oh, she reached that age, but that it, like, if you have the sources, please provide us. Where it
Yes.
says like after she started having her period, Muhammad climbed top of her. Please provide evidence, so we stand corrected. So far, I don't think there is anything in here we can put together.
Okay. All right. This is Sunan Nisa'i. Okay. This is a different source here. It's narrated that Aisha said, "The Messenger of Allah married me when I was 7 years old, and he consummated the marriage with me when I was 9." Okay. Sunan Nisa'i 3256.
Identified as Sahih, by the way, just getting people's attention. It is Sahih Hadith.
Yep. Every single one of these is Sahih. Every single one of them. And okay. Now I already did this one, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now we go to this one. Okay. Again, Sunan Nisa'i. The Messenger of Allah married me when I was 7 years old, and he consummated the marriage with me when I was 9. Okay. All right. Here's another one. This is Sunan Ibn Majah. Okay. So this is, I think, the first one from Sunan Ibn Majah. Aisha said, "The Messenger of Allah married me when I was 6 years old. Then we came to Al-Medina and settled among the Banu Harith ibn Khazraj. I became ill and my hair fell out, but it grew back and became abundant. My mother, Ruman, came to me while I was on urjeha, which means swing in Arabic. It's murjeha, with some of my friends, and called for me. I went with her, and I did not know what she wanted." Okay. So now you see, we had a very similar one from Sahih al-Bukhari, but this is in Sunan Ibn Majah. Okay. This is, again, Sunan Nisa'i 3258. It was narrated from Aisha that the Messenger of Allah married her when she was 9, and he died when she was 18. So here we have two of the pillars of the, the two pillars, 6, 9, and 18. Those are the three major ages of Aisha that you see in a lot of these hadiths. Okay, this is Sunan Abi Dawood 2121. The Messenger of Allah saws, which is Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah is praying on him, or for him, or to him, or upon him, or I don't know. I need Muhammad Hijab's help. Anyway, okay, married me when I was 7 years old. The narrator Sulaiman said, or 6 years. And then here it gets very graphic. It says, and he had intercourse with me when I was 9 years old. So here the word isn't just that I moved to his house. No, here it tells you what it means that when she moved to his house. And this 9 years old. So, okay. I just look kind of curious what in Arabic, what it says. وَدَخَلْ بِي وَأَنَا بِنْتِ تِسْعَةٍ. In Arabic, دَخَلْ بِي. Dakhal means he entered. He entered into me. Dakhal bi means he entered into me. Wa ana bint tis'a, when I was a 9-year-old girl.
Sometimes I'm very grateful that I'm not Arabic speaker. Otherwise, this is like very disturbing.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. Okay. Well, hukum sahih. So this is sahih. Al-Albani, that's another level of veracity there. Sahih. And so this is Sunan Abi Dawood. Okay, let's go. Okay. 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 Is this the one? Okay. This is Sahih Muslim. Aisha, Allah be pleased with her, reported, Allah's apostle, may peace be upon him, married me when I was 6 years old, and I was admitted to his house when I was 9 years old. And admitted to his house, we found out what that really means. She didn't just go to his playground and start playing on the swing. Even though she did do that, she did also go play with her friends there, and Muhammad came and played with them. You guys know about this, that Muhammad used to like to go play with the little girls when they were playing with their dolls. He loved kids. He just loved kids. And, there is that, I don't have the hadith right now, but I know you guys know about it. The one where she's playing with her dolls, with her friends, and he comes and plays with them.
And then her friends are hides.
Yeah.
Just very disturbing. But so we've got someone called Mustafa. He is expressing that Aisha said in the hadith that she was 16, not 6. Sir, can you be kind enough and then just provide the hadith for us? Otherwise, I think you are simply saying mother of believers is lying in this story. But please post the reference for us, or tell us which hadith. And then we love to see where Aisha says 6. Aisha says 16.
Yes.
And then everyone else gets it wrong, like Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, all the 5 hadith collections gets it wrong. Please give us the reference. Thank you.
Okay. And
let me on the screen until we get the reference.
Okay. Yes. And I love your reaction, Mustafa. I want to tell you, I love your reaction because it means this bothers the hell out of you. And it should. But I just want to tell you, you have a problem. Let me just tell you one problem you have, Mustafa. You see, this collection of hadith is knitting a web. It's making a web. And the problem with your 16, saying that she's 16, is that the hadith is very clear on 2 points. Number one, that Aisha lived with Muhammad 9 years. It repeats it over and over again, that she lived with him 9 years. She was 9, lived with him 9 years, and it's very clear, repeats several times, that she was 18 when he died. So if she was 16 when she married him and 18 when he died, that means she only lived with him 2 years. So you got to do away with all those hadith, sahih hadith, that say she lived with him 9 years.
Or another way of thinking is, brother, it is amazing. 16 years old girl is not bleeding, still playing with the dolls, and then doesn't even know what his mom is taking her to. And also you've got a story where when they go to war on their way back, they forget her behind. She can't even get home. 16 years old is probably having like some learning disabilities or something. There is nothing wrong with that, but it's just like, that's where you put your mother-in-law, mother of the believers there. So I've got Sahih Bukhari in my hand, brother, because apparently people are kind of expressing that Sahih Bukhari is not reliable anymore.
Oh, okay.
Page 19 of Sahih Bukhari, okay? Volume 1, page 19. Are you ready to listen, brothers? This is so important. It's going to crush all of your arguments now. So, it was a great task for him, Sahih Bukhari guy, to shift the forged hadith from the authentic ones. He labored day and night, and although he had memorized such large number, he only chose approximate 7,275. That was out of 300,000, okay? Actually, no, approximate 600,000. Depends which source you are reading. He chose only approximate 7,275 with repetition and 2,230 without repetition. So 2,230 without repetition, of which There is no doubt about their authenticity. There is no doubt about their authenticity. That's like intro of Sahih Bukhari tells us. So anyone who kind of says, oh, poor Aisha, she just got the numbers wrong. That's not Sahih Bukhari says. Or anyone who says, oh, we can't trust Sahih Bukhari anymore, we need to check that out. According to your writers, apparently there is no doubt, okay, about the authenticity. This guy, like, poor guy, he was like day and night trying to pick up the correct ones, and then he got rid of 98% of it, and then he put only in Sahih Bukhari what is authentic. So any sources Brother Hussein read it to you where Aisha was stating she was 6 and then Muhammad had sex with her when she was 9 are authentic. You've got to deal with that.
And most of these hadiths are from Sahih al-Bukhari, you know, even though there's from all 5, most of them are from Sahih al-Bukhari. So, you know, thank you for pointing that out. So, okay, let's go back here. Okay, now this is Sahih Muslim. Okay, Aisha, Allah be pleased with her, reported, Allah's apostle, may peace be upon him, married me when I was 6 years old. I was admitted to his house when I was 9 years old. Okay. All right, here's another one. Okay, now this is Sahih al-Bukhari again, okay? The Prophet wrote the marriage contract. So here now we kind of got a marriage contract involved, which we haven't heard about before, with Aisha while she was 6 years old, and consummated his marriage with her when she was 9 years old, and she remained with him 9 years, i.e. until his death. So Mustafa, here's a Sahih al-Bukhari hadith dealing with, first of all, no mention of 16 here, but you have the problem of the 9 years. And you have the problem of, okay, well, here it doesn't say 18 years old when he died, but in others, it does say that she was 18 years old when he died. So, but you do have the problem of the fact that she lived with him 9 years, not 2 years, like you're saying.
Mustafa, please provide us the reference. I'm still waiting for the reference. Otherwise, you are not much different than Allah is liar. Continue, brother. Sorry, I just wanted to remind that we are waiting for the reference.
Okay, and maybe we should offer him money too. You know, I could send via PayPal. You know.
No, we don't need to give him money. He is very confident that he knows how old Aisha was. Okay. I even remember there was a Dawa gangs was saying like, "You weren't there. I wasn't there. We don't know." Just provide us the reference. It should be very easy. If she's 16, I am sure she said it somewhere. Just provide us.
Okay. Yeah. One time I did a live stream about, you know, I want proof that the Quran says that the gospel is corrupted, and then I said, you know what? I'll give you $20. So many people got involved. It got up to by the end of the live stream, I had $400. Because so many people said, I'll give 20, I'll give 20, I'll give 100. It turned into $400 if anybody could provide us with verses showing that the Quran, a clear verse that the gospel has been corrupted in the Quran. And nobody ever claimed the money. So anyway, here's another one. This is also Sahih al-Bukhari. That the Prophet married her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage with her when she was 9 years old. And then she remained with him for 9 years until his death. Okay, again, so you got the 3 very important points: 6 years old, 9 years old, and then she lived with him 9 years until his death. So, you know, that's the problem with the 16 years old or 17 years old, is that she wouldn't have been with him for 9 years. Okay, narrated by Aisha, this is also Sahih al-Bukhari, that the Prophet married her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. Hisham said, I have been informed that Aisha remained with the Prophet for 9 years until his death. Okay, so we have an extra witness there, and Hisham, who is her nephew's son, and then you have the 9 years. That 9 years, you guys, that 9 years right there is the bane of Islam. It is destruction for you guys. That 9 years that she lived with him, because it destroys all your arguments that she was over 9 years old. It destroys it. All you got to do is get rid of it. Just eliminate that 9 years. That 9 years that she lived with him. Just erase it, and you'll be okay. But otherwise, you're stuck.
It is such a heartbreaking, actually, as you are looking at Islamic sources where Aisha herself speaks, and those sources are identified as authentic. You are questioning morality of Muhammad, peace, police, FBI, child protection be upon him. In the chat, there are a couple of Muslims. All they are doing is attacking the Bible. They don't even know what they are talking about. So did you pick up, brother?
I haven't.
Their prophet is on the ropes. Their prophet is very much messed up. They need to think through and then say, if this guy is reading those sources and he's correct, we've got to do something about it. And then they need to go and check. And then he says, I'll ask my teacher tomorrow. It's just such a shame. Like, instead of thinking what are those sources are saying, all you are doing is changing the topic and attacking the Christian scripture. It doesn't help you. Let's say, sake of the argument, which what you are saying is absolutely false, but sake of the argument, let's say Christianity is false. That still doesn't make Muhammad best example to humanity. That still doesn't change the fact that Muhammad climbed the top of a child, and that child didn't even know what was happening around. You were very brave enough to say she's 16, and then now suddenly you need your teacher to help you out. Oh, where she says she's 16. Mustafa Ibrahim, the live stream is here. We've got another topic tomorrow, it's live stream. But if you do not kind of pull yourself together and then come up with the reference for us, I am afraid we will identify you alongside with your prophet as a liar. Ask your imams, ask your teachers, and then check the answer they give it to you. Say, where does it say? What is the reference? Because Christian guy on YouTube, he was talking from Sahih Bukhari. He was talking from Sahih Muslim. So where is it that this says about Aisha? And then go and check it and then send us. Our email address is info@dcciministries.com. Very, very simple. Email us and then we will stand corrected. I will invite Brother Hussein to come back and then apologize for on the behalf of Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim and others. Because he's just reading what they are saying. But we will acknowledge your response. So you've got until tomorrow evening at, let's say, 12 p.m. UK time, okay? 12 a.m. UK time. So that gives you 27 hours for you to come up with the reference. And then as you ask your teacher, I hope your teacher is like not one of the part-time stripper. As you ask your teacher, please get the reference and then check that reference before you call us.
Yeah, well, if one of his professors is the part-time stripper, that, you know, he has really helped us so much with the stuff that he's been saying. So, you know, anyway, it's a sahih. But anyway, let's go ahead and go to the next one. I only have 2 left. Okay, we've done 11 so far, you guys. 11, and I'm still looking for 16 or 17 or 14 or something, but I haven't found it yet. Okay, this is Sunan al-Nisa'i, again, 3255. It was narrated from Aisha that the Messenger of Allah married her when she was 6 years old and consummated the marriage with her when she was 9. Bless you.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, bana biha. Bana biha in Arabic. Bana biha is the cohabitated. Okay. And this is the last one. It's from Sahih al-Bukhari. Now, this one is not about, this is actually 14. This is not about Aisha, but I think it's a very important one.
Don't apologize for.
Sorry. I apologize. Sorry, brother.
It's okay.
I was just working out.
I know that video. I know exactly what he's going to say. Okay.
Sorry about that.
The prophet died when he was 63 years old. Now I just want that, because then you got another pillar there. She was with him 9 years until he died. He was 63 when he died, meaning that she moved in with him when she was 54. And we know what it means when it says he moved in with her, because she clarifies he had intercourse with her when she was 9. And
Okay,
so
I was gonna ask for the clarification, because when someone moves in, they might be like your I don't know, house share or something. In this occasion, no, it's not like moving as a flat sharing something. No, it's like moving as
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like today, they did not used to have like in those days, because you do got to be clear, you guys, because there is a time difference. There are things that are different now than were back then, obviously. For instance, they did not used to have the Airbnb back then, like on that app wasn't developed then. So, like if you're looking for a room and you want to rent a room and you go on Airbnb to rent a room for a couple of weeks or something, they didn't used to have that back then. Okay. That app had not yet been developed. And so this wasn't like an Airbnb type of a situation where she's just renting a room from him or something like that. So, yes, but unfortunately, she's very intelligent, and she tells us what it means that she moved in with him. She says he had sexual intercourse with me, and in the Arabic, it's clearer. In the Arabic, it's clearer. Dakhal bi, which means he came into me. So sorry, yeah, I didn't write it. So anyway, okay, those are the hadiths, and this right here, this last one, I just wanted as a marker that he was 63 when he died.
Yeah,
and it refers to his death several times in these. It says that she was with him for 9 years until his death, meaning she had been with him since she was 54. So,
and so Mustafa is still in the chat. He's gonna ask his teachers, but Christianity is kind of mainly about being kind and generous, So while he asks his teacher, I'll put one of his scholars. This is not his teacher. This is a Muslim scholar. Let him comment on this. Hopefully this will help Mustafa out as well.
Don't apologize for the truth and don't distort the truth. There are Muslims that try to deny this. Oh, he didn't marry Aisha as a young girl. Ya akhi, look, that's not the way forward. We don't lie for the sake of our religion. Astaghfirullah. We have the truth. We're not going to cover up the truth if people find it embarrassing. This is the reality. Deal with it.
The gift that keeps giving.
So this is the reality, and reality is, yes, 13 Sahih Hadith, Brother Hussein showed us Aisha was just a child. She was 6 years old, and then at age 9, Muhammad had sex with her and identified her as his wife, is the reality. So you've got to deal with it. So when you go and ask your teacher, please bring up Sheikh Yasir Qadi as well. Hopefully you will call in and then say, well, I stand corrected. My prophet is very much messed up and I don't want to follow him.
Into eternity.
Actually, we want like you to not follow him and then turn to Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes. Amen. Okay, now I just want to talk a little bit about some of these, just some points that I'd like to make about these hadiths that we just read, okay? Number one, her age at consummation was 9 years old. That is mentioned 11 times. Let that sink in. 11 times it says that he dakhal bi in Arabic. Dakhal bi When a bint tisa. He came into me when I was a 9-year-old girl. He was 54 because he died when he was 63, and she had been with him 9 years. So one thing we don't necessarily need to talk about is, well, Muhammad was not a very patient man. We knew that, like, one time he was sitting with his friends and he saw a woman, an attractive woman walking by, and he said he, wanted sex. And so he went instantly, left his friends, had sex with his wife, and came back out and said that woman comes in the form of Satan. And so he compared women to a lot of things. Compared women to cows because you can ride on top of them. He compared them to donkeys and black dogs because they cancel your prayers. And here he compared women to Satan, and because they aroused his lust. So, but the point being that Muhammad was not a very patient man. He was not sexually patient. When he wanted something, he wanted it, And so was there anything between 6 and 9? He had Aisha, between the time she was 6 and 9. Did anything happen between 6 and 9? We're only talking about the consummation at 9, but what about before then? Well, there's fatwas about it, a fatwa. And you guys, I wish there wasn't. I honestly wish there wasn't this damned fatwa. I'm so sorry for saying it, but it's a damned fatwa. I wish there wasn't this fatwa, but there is this fatwa. And this fatwa says the word that is used is mufakhida, which means thighing, meaning that he didn't enter, but he would insert his organ between her thighs. It's called mufakhida, and there's an actual fatwa that Muhammad did this with Aisha, and that this is permissible. The reason I use that bad word about this fatwa is because this means that you can do this then. Because Muhammad did it when she was 6, you can do this too. This is a fatwa. Okay, and we could talk about, about Ayatollah Khomeini. We could talk about other things too. But here is the consummation. But that doesn't mean he was completely ignoring her for 3 years between the time she was 6 and 9. So anyway, okay, so this is one of the consistencies in all of these hadiths. This thing is solid in all the hadiths. 11 times it says the 9 years old, 9, 9, 9, 9. 11 times it talks about the consummation at 9 years old. Okay, now let's look at some of the inconsistencies in some of these hadiths. Okay, the age of marriage. Okay, 8 times it says she was 6 years old. 3 times it says she was 7 years old. 1 time it says she was 6 or 7. And 1 time it says it was 9. But there's no argument about the consummation. That's always 9, but about the actual piece of paper, because there is a reference to a contract. So maybe there was a piece of paper there's some question. Is it 6 or 7 or 6 or 7 or 6 or whatever? So that's in these 13 hadiths I showed you. This is kind of like the hadith, the statistics of it. But 8 times, the vast majority. And then if you include the 1 time where it says 6 or 7, then you can actually say 9 times it was 6 years old. So.
And a couple of people expressed in the chat that if we go with the Hijri calendar, with Islamic calendar, that will make it much younger, approximately a year younger, because their calculation is a little bit different than ours. Okay.
Yeah. So, well, according to what she said, so what, then you see, one thing that you got to also consider is that, nobody calls into question how old Muhammad was when he died. He was 63. Okay. He was born, they know the day, and it's exactly the same time system. And he was this old because of it. Nobody calls into question his age, The problem is her age. And so that's when you want, they want to cast doubt on, memories and all this stuff. So, but anyway, now here's some interesting points, interesting details about these about these hadiths. And I hope, Sister Hatun, that you would comment on some of these. These are some details that are in these hadiths. Number one, dolls are mentioned twice in these hadiths. 2 times she talks about the fact that she had dolls with her. Swing. Oh, go ahead. Yes.
Let's do point by point. So we expressed earlier, in Islam you can play with the dolls if you are just a child. So it was allowed for Aisha to play. And even you have the story where Aisha has got a horse, and then she thinks like it's real. She doesn't even understand the reality between dolls and like real life. If you travel to kind of Muslim houses or Muslim majority countries, you will see like after certain age there is no dolls. Even in some households there is never doll anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because Aisha was just a child. She was playing with her dolls. She took her dolls to her wedding, for the wedding place, just
to her honeymoon.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that would be called honeymoon, but yeah, that.
Okay, swings are mentioned twice. Urjiha, the word. It's very similar to the word today in these hadiths, and it's so interesting to me. I don't know. It's very interesting to me. Why, when they translate it from the Arabic into the English, they keep that word in Arabic? Because it's every other word is translated. That I was playing on the swing. I was playing with my girlfriends, and then it says on the urjiha. If any American reads that, I say, what the heck is that? Is it is it a place where they cook bread? Is it is it a gym? Is it a shepherd's field? Well, what is an urjiha? Why did they keep that word in Arabic? I'm just kind of curious. Have you ever heard anything about that?
No, but I'm already very disturbed. Like, what happened to that girl, and how that girl is like she remembers all those details.
Yeah.
Those very small details. Still, some of the followers of Islam is denying her age. That she remembers all those small details, but she doesn't remember how old she was.
It's just a very interesting thing, you guys. The word for urjiha, we still have it in Arabic. We still use it. Murjiha. It's almost the same word except with the M on the front. Or maybe that's how the Palestinians say it. We call it a murjiha, which is a swing.
Well, I hope no one comes back to me with your Arabic, since I don't know Arabic. You might able to get away with what you are saying, brother.
If there's any Arab critics, please criticize my Arabic. I know about this word because I have a funny story about this. Because my father was sick, I used to have to take him to the mosque. And because if he went by himself, he would fall. And so, I would take him and take his shoes off, put him in his chair, and then go outside and wait for him to finish prayer. And I would, what I usually would do is I would go to I would walk to the other side of my village, buy some coffee, and then come back, pick up my dad, and take him home. Well, one time I told my stepmother, I said, she said, no, you got to stay with your dad, don't be leaving. And I said, there's nothing for me to do out there. And she says, okay, I'll ask him to put a swing for you. But she used the word murjiha, which is great story, I know. So anyway, the word swing is in there twice. All right. The hair falling out is mentioned 3 times. So
stress, bad diet, mainly stress.
And if you look at there's actually diseases that cause the hair to fall out. And, I've told this story so many times, people are sick of it. But, when I used to live in the Middle East, I lived in a war zone and there was war. And I mean, bombs and tanks and explosions and missiles and airplanes and jets and helicopters. It was horrifying for kids. And I mean, they got used to it, you know, but for me as an American coming into that, it was horrifying. But one time I was giving out food. We were distributing food for, you know, these poor people. And we went to this one lady's house, and I don't know if she was a widow or divorced or what, but she had like 2 or 3 little girls. And we gave her a box of food, and she brought up one of her daughters, and she was like 6 years old or 5, depending on which calendar. But and she showed me her head, and she was bald in the back. And she said, and I asked her, why does her hair fall out? And she said, because she's so scared of the sounds of the jets and the bombs and the shooting. She's so scared her hair fell out. So when I came here and I see 3 times, Aisha says, my hair fell out. You guys, Yasser Qadi, Allah ysamhak ya Yasser Qadi. Oh, Yasser Qadi, God forgive you, man, for what you're saying. When you dare to say she was the happiest wife in the world. Because if you listen to that video that you just played, go on. She was the happiest wife in the world. Why are you guys getting all mad about it? She wasn't mad. She was so happy. She was the happiest wife in the world. Really?
It is strange, like you could call that happy. She doesn't even know what's happening. When man is climbing top of her, she doesn't even know what's happening. You give a child lollipop, and then child does what you ask them to do. You give child ice cream, child's whole world changes. What kind of happiness that was? She spent her life to just like wash the demons. Like seriously, like I think happiness, understanding of happiness in Islam is very different than Oxford Dictionary. And then of course, like she hasn't seen any life. She never seen alternative. She just like, okay, this is how the life is. It's Aisha who says she never seen anyone else suffering as much as the believing woman.
Yes. I see. We're not even dealing with that aspect of it, you know. But that was part of the abuse that she endured, in addition to all the other abuse she endured. And okay.
She never says like, oh, I am the most happy woman on the earth, even though I didn't know what was happening to me.
Well, you know, Yasser Qadi, I think Yasser Qadi can make fatwas, right? Because he talks about making a fatwa. So he fatwa'd that she was happy. So we just need to accept it. And yeah. So.
Well, probably everyone thinks she's half brain anyway. She wouldn't make sense. Therefore, today's scholars steps in and then make her happy.
Yale, that you can almost say, oh, this comes from Yale University. She was the happiest because he's from Yale, you know, Ivy League, and she was the happiest wife in the world. So just
happy wife wouldn't be jealous. Remember, like when Muhammad couldn't control himself in the time of emergency, he had a sex with married Coptic in the bed of Hafsa. Background of that story, it doesn't look like Aisha was happy at all. They were like wives came along with one another and then they just like went against Muhammad. You've got a story where Sophia is so beautiful. Aisha's jealousy is out there. I don't know like how people got the understanding of happy. Seriously, in Islam, definition of every word is different.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, the last interesting detail is that she reports that she got sick when she went to Medina 3 times. And this sickness lasted a month. You guys, think about it. She got sick for a month when she went to Medina. Why do you think she was sick for a month?
Yeah, someone made a point also. Remember in the story, there is a story. Abu Bakr beats Aisha while Aisha is married to Muhammad in front of Muhammad, and Muhammad says nothing. Ruby is making a point that this wouldn't be good for the happy wives. Happy wives wouldn't be beaten in front of their husbands, and then husband doesn't say anything, and all she's asking is like, okay, give me some money so I'll do this.
You know, there's a situation.
Happy. Don't fall into the traps that she was happy. She wasn't happy. I've done marriage counseling. I know what happy wife looks like. I am afraid to say Aisha doesn't meet with any criteria.
Yeah. There's a thing in America called battered wife syndrome. And that's like a wife who's been so abused, so beaten, so torn down. And you guys, as far as I can see, Aisha fits the bill on this one. That no matter what you do, she's like, oh yeah, I gotta just roll with this punch, and I gotta roll with this punch, I gotta roll with this punch. You know, because so much was done to her without her permission. So much was done to her without her permission, to where you just accept that, oh, life is just about things being done to me. People doing things to me is what life is about. Her own mother did that. You know, and you know, I'll just bring out this point. It's interesting to me, and maybe somebody can has an understanding of psychology explained to me. It's interesting to me that when she talks about her mother in that long hadith, long passage in Sahih Bukhari, she says, Romana came up to me. And then it says, my mother. She doesn't even say my mother came. She says, Roman, the mother of Romana, my mother came up to me. And it's just like this. I think this mother is a monster, man. And her mother was a culprit in this, what was done to her daughter.
Someone was asking for I think it was Mr. Muslim was asking proof for Aisha's slapped by her father. So this is Sahih Muslim, Hadith 1478. Abu Bakr slapped her on the neck. Abu Bakr slapped her on the neck. It's not only Abu Bakr. Remember, Muhammad even what was the term? Strike Aisha from her chest. Like, I don't think happy wife would get beaten.
Yeah, and
happy
you know,
wife wouldn't get beaten in front of their husband by their father. Happy wife wouldn't be beaten by their husband. You don't do those things to happy wives.
And you know, the word in Arabic after he hit her, when you read that hadith, she says, "Oh ja'tani, oh ja'tani." You know, because some people say, "Oh no, they're just playing, they're tickling each other." You know, people say that. No, "Oh ja'tani" means it hurt me.
It caused me pain. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
that, for me, that doesn't look happy at all. And I seriously, like, how many years I did marriage counseling? I did couple of years marriage counseling, and seriously, man, no, that's not the happy wife or happy marriage sound at all. And even when today's scholars are saying she is happy, I am afraid to tell you, they continue to lie to you. Read those sources by yourself.
yeah.
God gave you brain, God gave you eyes, and we live in a time where we've got access to education. We can read and write. If you can't even do that, most of those stories you can hear from those websites. Just listen, get the audio version, but don't take what Brother Hussein is saying, as well as don't take what your sheikhs or your teachers are telling you. Check it out by yourself. On the day of judgment, Brother Hussein is not going to be next to you to give account for you. Sheikhs are not going to be next to you to give account for you. You are all accountable for what you heard and what you are going to do about it. There are serious consequences for these things.
All right, if we'll go ahead and move on. Just got a couple more things here I need to say. This is from Sahih Muslim. She was taken to his house as a bride when she was 9, and her dolls were with her. This is Sahih Muslim. We read this one already, but it says, the playing with the dolls and similar images is forbidden, but it was allowed for Aisha at the time as she was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty. Fath al-Bari, volume 13, page 143. So Fath al-Bari is like the main commentary on Sahih al-Bukhari. And then I have this from an article by Sam Shimon, and I'll go ahead and show it. It's a very interesting, and this is an amazing article Sam Shimon wrote about this. It says, especially, okay, let's go ahead, just read the whole thing here. Al-Khatabi said, from this hadith, it is understood that playing with dolls is not like the amusement from other things, suwar meaning images, concerning which the threat, wa'id, of punishment is mentioned. The only reason why permission in this was given to Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, is because she had not at the time reached the age of puberty. Al-Hafiz says, to say with certainty that she was not yet of age of puberty is questionable, though it might possibly be so. This because Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, was a 14-year-old girl at the time of the Battle of Khaybar, either exactly 14 years old or having just passed her 14th year and entering into the 15th year or approaching it, the 14th year. And so this article is based on these hadiths saying she didn't reach puberty till she was 14, meaning for 5 years Muhammad was having sex with her before she reached puberty. So I just wanted to show you that. And anyway, if we could just, would you like to say anything about that, or can we go on to the isnad?
I don't know what to say about that, brother. It's just like disgusting. I'm just looking at source where there was a website where it is talking about how old. Okay, yeah, this one. Let me see if I can make this share screen. Share screen. Just a second. So there is. Are you able to see my screen, brother? Is it too small?
Yeah, if you can make it bigger, yeah.
Okay, don't be fussy. This is what we've got.
Okay.
So in here, they're asking Islam QA, okay? They're asking, is it okay to play with the dolls, okay? Are dolls only for girls? Is it permissible to play with them after you reach puberty? Okay, that's the question. And then you kind of look at the responses. And then responses are like, I'll make it a little bit smaller so that we get to see. Just go to the website and then check it out. It is talking about puberty is reached 15, 18, and 17. We don't know how old was I. Clearly, she wasn't ready for sex. She wasn't bleeding yet when she was 9 years old. I just find those things are just so disturbing, how people are justifying such things.
You know, this isn't exactly a footnote, but it is kind of like a side note, and we need to just tell Mustafa that that is not a sahih side note. So just kidding. You know about the Uthman with the footnote.
Yeah. So this is like Islam QA is simply saying, girls are reaching each like even like age 15, 16, 15, 17, and 18. And then he's making a case if it is like acceptable to play with the dolls or not. But like maybe when Muhammad died, she was still not ready for sex.
18.
She was still not bleeding yet. Because according to Islam QA, 15, 18, and 17 is the age limit.
Yeah, I got a new term today. It just kind of came to my head, but it's monster mom. You know, that's what I think of her mother, man. But anyway, all right. I just wanted to really quickly just talk about some isnad issues about the chain of narration about these, because you know what happened is somebody was saying something once, and then I thought, I wonder how many people knew that Aisha was 6 years old when she married, and you know, Muhammad, and then 9 when she had sex, and 18 when he died, and all this stuff. And so I went through. These are some isnad issues. Isnad meaning the chain of narrators in the hadith. And you guys, before anybody criticizes any of these chain of narrators, according to every source of the 5 that I showed you, they are sahih. They are authentic. So, but here are the names. There's 27 people mentioned in the isnads, in the chain of narrators. So, you know, it always says, you know, this person told this person who told this person who told this person that they heard from this person about you know, these are the names in the isnads, in the chain of narrators. Okay. That of all of these 13 hadiths that I've showed you. Okay. And here's, and one interesting fact is that in almost all of them, you're going to see this. This is in Arabic, and I'm just doing this to show off the fact that I do know how to read Arabic. So it is just an ego trip for me. But anyway, but let me tell you, in 12 of the 13, these names are the last names in the chain. In 12 of the 13 hadiths, the last name, meaning that the name right before it tells you, you know, I was 18 or I was 6 and whatever. And it's an Hisham, an Abi, an Aisha. This was told by Hisham, by his father, by Aisha. So these are the last, in 12 of the 13, these names are involved. And let me just go ahead and show you in English, you know, what does that mean? You see on the left there, it says the triple intro. Hisham ibn Urwa. These are the last 3 names on 12 of the 13 hadiths. Hisham ibn Urwa, and then Aisha. Now, the interesting thing about that is that 9 times in the 13 hadiths, 9 times it is all 3 of them. Hisham ibn Urwa, and Aisha. They're the last 3 names listed before it says I was 6 years old. 2 times it's just Urwa and Aisha, the last 2 there, Urwa and Aisha. 1 time it's just Urwa and Hisham, the father and son. And once it doesn't go back to Aisha, it goes to Abdullah, it goes to somebody else. But every other time, 12 of the 13 times, these names are there. And why this is significant, and the reason it is significant is because it strengthens my case that this thing is rock solid. And let's just look at who is Hisham ibn Urwa. Okay, Hisham ibn Urwa was a prominent narrator of hadith, son of Urwa bin Zubair, grandson of Zubair ibn al-Awam. and Asma bint Abu Bakr. See, right there is a key word, Asma bint Abu Bakr. That's Aisha's sister. Okay. In Medina, his pupils included people well known as Malik ibn Anas. He was born in 61 AH and died in the year 146. So he was 2 years old when Muhammad died. No, I'm sorry. No, that's wrong. Forgive me. Just drop that. That's wrong. Okay. But he's the son of Urwa.
So he was 11 years old. 632. He was 10 years old when Muhammad died.
Okay. All right. And here, what's interesting is about Urwa. The thing that's interesting about this, you guys, is that, like, if you look at Sahih al-Bukhari, quite often some people would come up with this criticism when they're trying to defend the Quran or defend Muhammad. They'll say, well, Sahih al-Bukhari was 300 years after Muhammad, so this is like 300 years later. Well, the thing about this particular hadith, this chain of narrators in this hadith, is that Urwa was a contemporary of Aisha. He lived in the same time, and he was the son of her sister. So this is a relative, a blood relative, who had spoken to Aisha, to where in 12 of the 13 of the hadiths, he's like the second to the last before Aisha herself. Okay, and here's a hadith where they actually are talking to each other. This is in Sahih al-Bukhari 741.
341.
Mm-hmm. It says, narrated by Urwa, Aisha said to me, "Oh, my nephew." So there you see the relationship right at the beginning, the relationship with Aisha. So this wasn't some, guy, who was unrelated or some 14th cousin or something. This guy was her nephew. And we know because it said in the other one, Asma bint Abu Bakr, the sister of Aisha, was his mother. Okay. We used to see the crescent when the crescent, she says, Aisha said to me, "Oh, my nephew, we used to see the crescent and then the crescent and then the crescent in this way. We saw 3 crescents in 2 months, and no fire for cooking used to be made when the houses of Allah's apostles." Houses. He had lots of houses. Okay. Urwa said, "Oh, my aunt, ma amti, wala ya khalti," because it's his mother's sister. "Then what did you use to sustain you?" Aisha said, 2 black things, dates and waters. Our neighbors from Ansar had some manar, whatever that is, and they used to present Allah's apostle with some of their milk, and he used to make us drink. What I'm interested in here is nephew and aunt. And this is Sahih al-Bukhari, you guys. This isn't some weak hadith. Urwa was her nephew. He was a contemporary. He heard it from her mouth. Just look at this conversation. I mean, well, it's a kind of a crazy conversation. He's talking to his aunt about how they used to eat, about the stuff that they used to eat, and how she used to cook it and how she used to prepare. It just shows you that there was this close relationship between him and his aunt, that they would talk about stuff. I mean, guys, I never talk to it. How often do I talk to women about how they cook? It's like, it's not something that I often, you don't just go up to a woman and start talking about, oh, how do you cook in your house? How do you do your vegetables? How do you cut your onions or whatever? No, but here they are. They're talking about that, and it shows you that there was a close relationship between them. And this is a sahih, and he calls her my aunt. She calls him my nephew. Usually you call people by their names, but because they're so close, they call each other by their relationship rather than, like you could say, my mom, my dad. Shows you how close these guys were. 12 of the 13 hadiths have his name on it. He's the second to last source on 12 of the 13, which I think adds to the credibility, veracity of all these 13 hadiths. And I do have information about the other 27 guys, but it's long and boring, and so I'm not going to get into it. But I will tell you about one other, and that is Hisham, because you remember there's three names. There's Hisham, Urwa, and Aisha. Well, Hisham is Urwa's son. Hisham is Urwa's son. And so he heard it either from his aunt or from his father, adding another level of credibility and veracity to these 13 hadiths, because in 12 of 13, their names are mentioned as the last, the final narrator. So anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to say about the isnad. And I don't know if you'd like to comment on that.
There is this great science in Islam. I am sure science of hadith, they all went through those names and then put them together, because Sahih Bukhari tells us everything in Sahih Bukhari is authentic.
Everything.
Whatever today's Muslims might say, if you want to identify as non-Muslims, absolutely fine, but that's your problem. And it is, I must express, like I am heart crushed as you are bringing up all those disgusting writings, disturbing and heartbreaking informations about how Muhammad dealt with Aisha, what he did to Aisha. In the chat, we heard where individuals were simply saying, oh, she was 16, and then they're going to ask their teachers. Some people simply discredit those sources. And now it is all about like, oh, why are you attacking Islam? If you're not, seriously, if you just heard Brother Hussein's presentation, and if you are still asking, oh, why are you attacking Islam? All I can say is just open the fridge, take your brain and then put it back on your head. Because you should be disturbed by what you heard. If it is correct. If it is not correct, come back and correct us. But if it is correct, at this stage, you should be like on your knees and checking all those sources. Those things are serious. He is supposed to be the best example. We are not talking about King of Britain did something, or Sultan of Morocco did something. We are talking about man who's supposed to be example to humanity. Best pattern to follow. He did that. And Aisha wasn't happy at all. You've got to deal with that. How are you feeling, brother?
I think I need to go take a shower.
You can take shower and then kind of think. You can look from the Christian perspective, okay? Those are the Islamic informations I need to share with Muslims. And then once I'm done with this presentation, I moved on. But at the end, there are billions of people are following this ideology and they think Muhammad is perfect. Yeah. The video you showed us at the beginning tells us 21st century, while all those informations are available for everyone, there are still people don't know what Muhammad did to Aisha. They still think their prophet is perfect. They still think their prophet is best example to humanity, mercy to the world. But that is a lie.
You know, one thing that is that when I start studying this, what I find is Father Zechariah, because I've worked with Father Zechariah for 10 years, and one thing he says is that the Holy Spirit guides him in exposing Islam. He says he'll just be sitting down, and then all of a sudden the Holy Spirit says, go look at Sahih al-Bukhari, this particular thing in Sahih al-Bukhari or something. He's got a million books, and when I start studying this, I kind of felt like the Holy Spirit was like, yeah, look at the isnad, look at the names in the isnad, look at this. And one thing I found is that every single step of this thing is devastating. This is so rock solid. If you're going to give any credibility to Islamic sources, it doesn't get more solid than this. This thing is impenetrable. It is so solid and at so many levels. And so I really felt like the Holy Spirit was guiding me to look at this, look at that, read this, do that, ask this question. And the reason is because God wants people to know the truth. He wants to know, do you want to follow this guy? Do you want to follow this? If you want to follow him after everything you heard today, if you're a Muslim, you want to follow him, you're free to do that, especially in London. But anywhere, you're free to choose that. But you're going to be held accountable. And God's going to ask you, he's going to say, but didn't you see what Muhammad did to Aisha? And you're going to say, well, I did, but it wasn't sahih, or she was 16 or something. He says, but no, you saw all 13 times it tells you she was 6 or 7. Why did you follow someone like that? You are going to be held accountable for what you just heard. If you're a Muslim, you're going to be held accountable on Judgment Day for what you just heard. Please, I know you're better than your prophet. I know, especially the ones who commented. I really like the comments from the Muslims, from Mustafa and from those other guys who tried to say, oh, but look at the Bible, because that means your conscience is at work. It means your conscience is awake. And you're saying, this really sucks. This is really bad. So let's try to change the focus because this is really bad. That means your conscience is still awake. The conscience, God speaks to you through your conscience. Listen to what he's telling you. Face this thing and make the right decision to leave. You can't reform Islam, but you can forsake it. Do that. Forsake Islam. Come to the Lord Jesus. Don't just leave for nothing. Come to Jesus.
Brother, thank you very much for joining me and showing all those sources. I really, really appreciate, and thank you very much to Muslims who try to show us how you find it disturbing as well. We really appreciate that. So if that's okay with you, I'll just read something from the scripture, and then we finish from there, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Matthew chapter 18. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? He called a little child and had him stand among them. And he said, I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever welcomes a little child like this in my name welcomes me. But if anyone causes one of those little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a large millstone hung around his neck and to be thrown into the depths of the sea. That's what Jesus says about little children. I think it says quite a lot for Muhammad and what he did to Aisha. I think we all, if we didn't, we should all be coming to conclusion that Muhammad is not the best pattern to humanity. He is not mercy to the world. And Muhammad married a child who was only 6 years old. And he had sex with her when she was 9 years old. Is not acceptable, was not acceptable, and will never be acceptable. So God bless you all. We will see you tomorrow evening for another live stream. May Christ crucified silence you with his love. Brother, once again, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. God bless you.